Let me talk about because you're a good candidate for this since you have so many certifications. In the beginning of every year, I kind of look what their certifications or their books. There's a long wish list, and I have a very large library. One of the things I've noticed, there's been a big influx on certification, and the new agile organizations have brought a new flavor and a new approach to certification, which is interesting and new. I got my CSM, which is really a low-level certification, but it was also, I was impressed in many ways, but I was also not impressed in other ways, and that's why I haven't gone any further in there. I think there's there's so many certifications out there that it's kind of difficult to know anymore what's of value. And I'm going to speak very bluntly in the favor of our viewers and people who are not yet committed to an association. They can't tell the difference between IPMA or PMI or ABC or DEF. They don't know it. If they don't have the years of experience or association with it, it doesn't mean anything to us, to them, right? So I think the legitimate question that a lot of people have when they talk about which one is good, we have history. So I'll talk up the classical four. I'll say PMI has the greatest brand recognition value. So if you're looking for reputation and solid thing, I think, and also like the culture of PMI. IPMA, high quality, more expensive, more time consuming, but I love their very simple 4-level structure. I think it's easy to follow. I think they're sometimes unintentionally exclusive where they don't need to be and make it more difficult than they need to. Prince 2, I think is I don't want to put it down. It's a great quality process. It's the greatest asset of it. It's the one that's the most easy to get without a hassle, which I think is a legitimate thing. Sure. APM now has split off from IPMA, so I find their approach interesting as well. And then you've got the Scrum Alliance with their 25 or 30 different certifications where it's confusing. I find it highly irritating, and I'm speaking for the market here. And the other problem that we have in certification, and have you met Lee Lambert yet?
Not yet.
Okay,
I've seen him on videos, and I obviously know his position within PMI.
He's a great guy. He was so kind to be virtually on one of our podcasts, and we talked about this as well. One of the things that hurts me a little bit is, and I have this conversation on ongoing, I'll have certain clients that will come to me and say, Mark, I need you to come in, and I've got a team of 14 people that need to be brought up to speed. Can you do fundamentals with them? Can you teach them, a pragmatic approach to and I said, yes, hands down, I can. With real life case studies, with examples, we'll make it understandable for you. And then they said, yeah, and can we turn that into a certification course? And I go, absolutely not.
No, that's a different story.
Because the way you need to train to pass certification and the way you need to train to practice it are not the same.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if this is it's a comment. I don't know if it's a legitimate critique because it takes different things, and the PMBOK is a much bigger scale of topics, so you have to approach it in a different way. But what hurts me a little bit, and I heard this from an end-to-end manager for a large German company that was building a factory that I trained, who said to me after it took him a long time to get the PMP, and I coached him through it. He says, he kind of said to me, not word for word, but almost in that tone, that it has no impact on what he's doing. There was no relevance, which hurts my heart because, in my opinion, I think the PMP did a lot for my project understanding, for understanding the scope of possibilities. And I still stand behind it. I think the PMBOK is a superior standard to understand project management, but I do understand how you can get lost in translation if you're going through 800 pages.
Or if you're just going for the certification, for the sake of the certification.
Yeah. So I think there's some work that I think PMI was kind of intimidated a little bit by this startup agile certifications popping out of the ground.
For a while.
For a while.
And they tried this, what they called at the time, micro certifications. I've done a handful of them just to try them out.
Have you done the Agile one?
I did one Agile Metrics, I think it was called.
I think I'm signed up for that, yeah.
I've done as well the organizational transformation one and the citizen developer thing. Yeah. Mixed quality. I thought the citizen developer was interesting. Well done, the organizational transformation. I think what they recognized is it was a dilution to the overall certification offerings, and that is why they've now kind of, I call it now demotion to webinar courses, essentially, not calling them certifications, because one of the things that has been pushed over the last year by PMI is the concept of gold certifications, that the key certifications being offered, CAPM as an entry level, PMP for mid-level, mid-career project managers, then from experience on PgMP, PfMP, and then the specialist certification around that, that they need to be high level. And if you look, for example, they've revamped the PMI ACP. They've revamped.
We both agree. We both have them. I thought the ACP was the best Agile certification out there.
Not just from all the flavors were in there. And that, I think, and I told my guys always, hey, don't do this Scrum Master course or this Product Owner course. Do the ACP.
I did the CSM, and you know what? My great trainer, great venue. Fairly expensive. I've got lots of takeaways. I've got poker cards. I got a book. I got all sorts of give me's, which was great. The trainer was really sensational. He was one of the authors of the book. Lots of fun exercises. But after 2 days and then we took the exam in the course at the end of the course, and he says, and you can take the test agilely. And what does that mean? He says we can ask each other questions and do poker card. And I'm like, no, I walked outside. He says, I don't need everybody's opinion. I want to take the test by myself. But there were 30 people in that course. And as a trainer, I'm really sensitive to, when I give a training, I want to make sure that I provide value and people are learning something. Yes. And the trainer hands down was great. But I knew for a fact that the 30 people that had taken these 2 days training and now had a CSM, maybe 2 of the people in that room actually knew how to be a Scrum Master. And I was one of them. And I didn't know how to do it because of the course. I knew how to do it because I'd been doing it for years. Okay. That's why I knew. I understood immediately that story points is a tricky subject, and there's workarounds. You can just substitute it with a duration and effort. There's no harm in it, right? But I think just proposing a bunch of new vocabulary and new shiny things that nobody understands to do doesn't serve the purpose. I mean, I think we already have that problem enough in project management that enough people talk about things but don't know how to do it. I don't think that helped it. So I think the certification landscape, I know that PMI is committed to it. I think PMI's strategy needs to continue to I think it's good to have micro something or other badges or whatever you want to call it, but they need to make sure that their core certifications are large and grand, large and in charge. And I hope that I think the objective falls on the trainer, because I'm also a certified trainer for PMP. I often have to translate the slides. I'll have to say, okay, you don't understand. Let me put it into a real life context, right? Right. But I often find that if I'm limited in time, I can't always do both. So I usually convince my clients is, listen, if you want to know how to do it, we'll do a how-to course, and if you want to be prepared for the PMP exam, we'll take a different one, which is a pity, actually. I guess the only way to do that is to take more time.